A perfectly controlled life can pass without a single moment that tests breath, muscles, or patience. When discomfort disappears, the body adapts to ease, and ordinary effort starts to feel unusually demanding. Comfort now means stable temperature, constant snacks, and instant entertainment, which remove many natural stress signals. This matters because adaptation needs pressure, and a sheltered routine reduces the pressure that keeps systems flexible. Health span can decline even while life expectancy rises as chronic conditions build during years of comfort. The result is more fatigue, more anxiety, and less capacity for the basic challenges that once felt normal. A workday ends, a screen takes over, and the mind stays busy without real restoration or reflection. Food is always available, movement becomes optional, and the environment rarely asks for heat, cold, or hunger. Next, we will use 5 tools: shifting thresholds, misogi challenges, boredom, hunger practice, and carrying a load. This video is inspired by The Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter, and I invite you to subscribe to explore these practices with clear steps. The comfort problem arises from a mismatch between human design and a world that removes effort from daily life. Over millions of years, survival required enduring cold, heat, and scarcity, whereas recent decades have provided constant protection. When the body rarely faces stressors, it becomes less prepared, and small discomforts can trigger exaggerated reactions. The mind also adjusts its standards, and what once counted as a problem now seems acceptable. Researchers call this prevalence-induced concept change, where rare problems are detected by widening the category. This widening can create constant low-grade dissatisfaction, as normal friction is labelled as failure or danger. In one experiment, people asked to spot threatening faces kept finding threats, even when most faces were neutral. They shifted the boundary for threat as it became rarer, showing how perception changes when discomfort is absent. This is why adding planned strain can calm the system, as real signals return and trivial signals fade. Choose one daily inconvenience, such as walking outside in weather, and treat it as training, not punishment. A misogi is a yearly challenge chosen to be so difficult that success feels uncertain from the start. The rule is to set a 50% chance of finishing, with careful planning that prevents reckless risk. The point is not to suffer for show, but to find an edge where focused effort is required every day. When the task is private and personally meaningful, motivation comes from identity, not from applause or likes. Hard challenges can change baseline expectations, making everyday discomfort feel manageable instead of alarming or unfair. They also produce lasting confidence because the mind remembers that difficult preparation and completion are possible. One route is training for months to cross cold open water, learning breathing control and steady pacing. Another route is a long wilderness hunt with heavy packs, where navigation, patience, and teamwork decide the outcome. This approach turns discomfort into a skill and keeps comfort from setting the only standard. Write one challenge that scares you but stays safe, then break it into weekly training blocks and safety checks. Boredom is not a flaw to erase, it is a signal that the brain needs a change. Time in unfocused mode allows attention to reset, supporting planning, creativity, and emotional regulation. Modern convenience reduces boredom with constant stimulation, locking the mind in doing and reacting. When every spare moment is filled, small frustrations feel bigger because there is no mental space to recover. Outdoor time restores this space, as nature holds attention gently while allowing room for wandering thoughts. Research suggests that even short doses of boredom can help, with longer doses deepening the effect on mood and thinking. A simple contrast is a quiet walk without podcasts versus the same route while scrolling messages and headlines. The quiet walk feels slower at first, but ideas surface, and urgency drops as the senses notice details. Start with a daily 20-minute, phone-free outdoor block, then build toward 5-hour and 3-day resets. If boredom training sounds useful for attention and calm, subscribe to follow more ways to rebuild that capacity. Intentional hunger is a practice of allowing the body to feel empty for planned periods, instead of constant grazing. A common method is time-restricted eating, which involves limiting daily food intake to a window of about 12 to 16 hours. This approach gives digestion a break, reduces constant insulin spikes, and enhances the body's ability to use stored energy. Most Americans already consume across roughly 15 hours, so hunger rarely appears, and appetite signals become dulled. When hunger never shows up, ultra-processed foods become easier to overeat because rewards remain high and stopping cues remain weak. Planned fasting windows restore contrast, making a normal meal feel satisfying without constant snacks and decision-making. The Hadza, a hunter-gatherer group in Tanzania, typically eat within 12 to 16 hours without scheduled fasting rules. They can also consume about 4,000 calories at a big meal, then go long stretches without food. To apply this safely, choose a consistent eating window, keep meals simple, and monitor energy, sleep and mood. Try this for 2 weeks, then adjust the window based on performance, recovery, and the steadiness of your appetite. Carrying weight over distance trains the whole body, as walking, posture, and breathing all work under load. Rucking, which involves hiking with a backpack and adding weight, combines endurance with muscle demand in one session. This style of movement builds capacity for real tasks, such as lifting, climbing, and moving for hours without breaking form. It also strengthens bones and connective tissue through steady impact and tension, without the complexity of many machines. A practical benchmark is how infantry training treats 50 pounds as normal for marching, not a heroic stunt. In extreme backcountry hunts, packs can exceed 100 pounds, making preparation a necessity, not a hobby. The contrast shows what the body can do when training respects discomfort, instead of avoiding it at every step. Carrying a load also changes mindset, as effort becomes familiar and daily movement feels more capable and less fragile. Begin with a light pack, focus on posture, then gradually increase the weight while keeping walks comfortable and controlled. Track distance and recovery, and stop when joints complain, as the goal is durability across months, not a single workout. Comfort is not the enemy, but constant comfort can shrink the range of life the body and mind can handle. Planned discomfort restores that range, as adaptation returns when exposure is steady and chosen. Start by noticing shifting standards, then practice one hard annual misogi that requires training, patience, and humility. Add boredom outside so attention can reset, then use hunger windows and loaded walks to rebuild physical capacity. These discomforts support health by strengthening metabolic flexibility, movement skill, and stress tolerance together. They also support meaning because effort creates perspective, and small comforts feel richer when they are not constant. Thinking about death can sharpen priorities, as time is limited, and postponing what matters becomes harder to justify. Use that perspective to choose one practice this week, then repeat it until discomfort feels familiar instead of threatening. When comfort returns after effort, enjoy it deliberately and treat the next challenge as the price of staying fully alive. If you want more guidance for building a safe discomfort plan, subscribe to keep these ideas practical and consistent.